Hello there and welcome back. In this video we are going to continue our Passbolt journey. So in the previous video you have seen how we can install Passbolt and initialize it. And recently I had a project at the organization I'm working for where we want to integrate Ansible with Passbolt to pull out the secrets and let's say generate a configuration file or whatever. So the idea is not to store this information inside the playbook or Ansible vault, but rather pull it out of Passbolt on demand. And that's what I want to show you, because the setup is not that straightforward, so to speak. So technically I'm here in my machine in the CentOS 9. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you. And if we check here on the other screen, you can see that this Passbolt has a repository, and it also has basically a guide which allows you to create the playbooks. So if you search for Passbolt Ansible manage secrets, then you will find this guide. This is the official documentation, and I try to pull together the important information that we need. Let me turn off my camera and proceed. So basically what we have to do is to install the Ansible Galaxy collection anatomic jc.passbolt. Let's go here and paste the command, and as you can see it's already installed. And what we also have to do is to use a pip command to install PyPassbolt. So if we go here and paste it, what I'm also going to do is to prefix it with Python 3.9-m, because the Ansible -- version is using that Python interpreter. So now we have our prerequisites. We have the Ansible Galaxy module and the Python module. Now we should be able to create our playbook. But in order to create that playbook, we need something from Passbolt. Namely, if you log in to Passbolt, I have already created the demo user. And here under the profile, you have the key inspector, and you have to download your private key. And if you have downloaded it, you have to get it to the CentOS machine. And what I'm going to do here is the following. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So we use SCP, and we have the private key under the downloads folder, and I want to move it to my home folder. This is one thing that we need. The next thing is basically this template for the playbook. So here what I'm going to do is to create passbolt.yaml, and we have the host, which is going to be localhost, because the CentOS 9 machine is hosting Passbolt, and the beacon is no, and the gather facts is no, and we have to have the environment section. Inside this environment there are a few things that we have to define. First thing is the Passbolt base URL. Let me paste it, and it is going to go over HTTPS protocol, and here we are going to need the Passbolt private key, and we are also going to need the Passbolt passphrase. So let me paste it here, and here comes the fun part. So for the private key and the passphrase, for the passphrase, what I did was to hide it in my environment variable, so we can use the lookup module with the Ansible built-in env, and my environment variable is default pass. This is going to be the passphrase that is going to be used to verify the private key. For the private key, it's going to be a little bit tricky because, as you remember, I have copied my private key and I have to convert it to a one-line version. So if we check the private key, you can see this is the content. And in order to convert it, we can use this sed command. So basically, I'm going to paste it, then give it the passbolt private.asc. And here, what I have to do is to copy this one. And I have to make sure that in the end, I don't copy the new line character down there. So let's copy it. Now, we can move back to our playbook and simply paste this one here in the private key part. Alright, now this is the block. And we also have to make sure come on, let's make it a bit smaller. Yeah, it's just for whatever reason looking like this. We also have to make sure that we have the following section. So this is an example playbook that I'm using, and we need to have the wars section with Passbolt. So let's create the wars, and the Passbolt is going to be the anatomic jc.passbolt.passbolt. And that's basically all that we need from there. And after that, we can use Passbolt to look up the credentials based on their name as if they were like environment variables. So for example, if you scroll up, you can see this is the one that is going to be used for lookup. So let's create the tasks section, and the name is going to be lookup demo credential, and we use the debug module, and the variable that we want to use comes from the lookup of Passbolt, and this is called demo. So if you go back to our Passbolt interface, you can see this is what I'm talking about. Alright, so now if everything goes well, I should be able to go ahead and execute the Ansible playbook Passbolt. And as you can see here, we have an error, and provided only localhost is available. What? But that's good. Sorry, I got carried away by this warning. And technically it means that the Passbolt has a self-signed certificate and it cannot be verified. And for the love of God, I was unable to find any kind of configuration item that would disable the verification of the SSH key. So what I did was to issue the verbose switches to the Ansible playbook. And here in the error message, if you want, you can trace back where this problem comes from. So if we check out this file, this is where the client, the HTTPX client, is initiated. And I thought to myself, why not take a look at this file and see what's inside? And if you scroll down here, there is a verify section. And I thought to myself, why not say that we don't want to verify anything? Then I commented the rest of them out, because by default the verify is true. So now if I save it and try to execute it without the verbose, you can see that the verification is ignored or skipped, and it was able to look up the credential. And from now on, if we go ahead and say that we want an Ansible playbook ini file, we can find the general.ini, and technically what I want to do is to, let's say, have this one added to my playbook. So Passbolt, we are just going to create an example playbook or ini based file. So create ini section, and if we go here, we have to use the community, the general.ini underscore file, and we give it a path which is going to be under temp demo.ini, and here what we will do is to say section, we call this, I don't know, credential, and we say that the state is present. So now if I run my Passbolt playbook, what? So name, community general, what's the error? Misspelling. Maybe I have to install it. This is a fresh Ansible installation, so let's see. Let's paste it. Wow, it has to be installed. So that module was not available. So now if I execute it, must be defined state present. And how do we create just the section? Ensure that we have the section of lemonade. Hold on. Temperature, cold lemon juice, and outside a section in a specified file. So option beverage value. Okay, we can do it this way. So what I want to do basically is to create an ini file, and we say that credentials and the username equals admin and the password equals whatever. So this is the file that I want to generate, and we have to say that we go back to Passbolt and section is credential, and option is username, and the value is, and here comes the fun part. So we say that this comes from the lookup module, which looks up from the Passbolt, and it looks up demo, and we need the username. So now if we execute it and check the temp and demo.ini, you can see that we have the credential and we have the demo user. And if we go back, we can also add another section. So we say that name, create ini section, part 2, community, general ini file, and we say that the path is going to be temp.demo.ini, and the section is going to be credential, and the option password, and value, and the state is present, and here we reference the password. Let's save it and execute it. And now if we check the demo.ini, you can see that we have successfully pulled out the credentials from Passbolt and generated the ini file. And there is basically a correlation, so to speak. So if you check under help and go down to the API reference and we search for Passbolt, or rather inventory. So there is a correlation basically between the API documentation and how you can use your Passbolt to look up. And that is something which I want to keep for the next video. So for now, that was all I wanted to show you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.